Who the F did I marry? This is part 4. We're going to see how far we can get to, and I'm doing a review of it, okay? I just want to remind you guys that over here at Janice Hilton, we do things differently. I am a teacher, so I'm going to teach through this. So if women find themselves in this situation, you should look for the red flags. There were just so many red flags, REESA girl. I just don't understand. But I do things differently on this channel. It's the review with commentary, so I will add review on my thumbnail. If you want to listen to the whole series uninterrupted, it is in on my financial channel, which is called My Freedom Money. So I will link it below for you to watch this series uninterrupted on my other channel, financial channel, My Freedom Money. I would really appreciate it if you watch it over there because I need these hours for that channel. Okay, so I'm going to try to not interrupt as much, but I have to do the commentary, and whenever I see the red flags, I have to raise my red flag. Okay, be sure to subscribe and thumbs up. Share this out for me. Help me to grow this channel. Thank you so much for your love and support. We're on our way to 50,000 subscribers. Let me just give you a quick review. So in episode 1 to 3, we meet REESA, and she met this man online. And let me explain to you, there's nothing wrong with online dating, okay? You just choose the wrong man, okay? She meets this man. They go on the date. Red flags from the first conversation, and it was COVID, and she's known him for like 2 weeks or a month. And the thing that puzzled me was they were deciding where they're gonna COVID quarantine together. Girl, what? You just met this man. He has a studio. She has a 3-bedroom, 2.5 house. She invites him over. All red flags that I teach in the My Husband Profile course that's coming April 6th, and in my book 23,000 Guys. Don't invite them over to your house. He comes over, he see her big beautiful house. She's in a hole, he's in a hole in the wall. They decided they're going to quarantine together. Hello, the stranger she just met now. The stranger she just met, she's quarantined with the stranger. This is during COVID. Okay, let me just say, she did say bothered her because she was raised in the church. And we know at church girls, we do not shack up. It's sin, and it is against the word of the Lord. And if the Lord return, you're going to bust hell wide open, shacking up, living with a man. You are not married. Okay, so then he claimed when they met that he just moved from California to Georgia, and he's looking for a house to buy, and she was impressed by that, right? And but to me, it's a red flag, because if you're looking for a house to buy, why you have a studio apartment? Anyways, so she claimed, he says, let's buy a house together. They decided that they're going to buy a house together, and he showed her a letter of $750,000 approved for, and she asked him, can you afford 750,000? She told him she got savings in this bank, that bank, offshore account. Shout out to the cousin in the comments who clarified that it's different in each state. See, in New Jersey, you don't get a letter, you get a packet. Okay, we get a packet of, this is what you are eligible for, and it has everything on there. It has all your assets, all your liabilities, and it grinder if I can think, they calculate everything, and they say this is how much your credit score, everything, this is how much you're eligible for. And so you have a packet. Okay, when we see the realtor, it's a packet we have that of how much you are eligible for. So shout out to the cousins down there. It's a little bit different. Okay, so they're looking for $750,000 house. She asked him, can you afford it? She said yes. So he's supposed to put a down payment on the house, and then the realtor called and said, we need clarification of assets or proof of assets or something, and he claimed he left or something. It was all red flags. Okay, so she says that he said he put down a down payment with the other realtor. She wanted the friend to get the credit, so on and so forth. And then he went on the computer and showed her, see, the house is on under contract. Then they went into Home Depot, and that's where it cut off. So this is episode 4 on. We'll see how far we get to. I did speed it up to 1.75 so we can try to get through it a little bit quicker. in addition to my commentary. Thank you for your love and support. If you do not have your very own copy of 23 Tasks Guys You Might Meet, you can pick this up on Amazon. Link is below, and the Husband Profile course begins April 6th. Dating is for Dated is a book that of the guys that I dated and the red flags that I saw that made me run. I love you. Thank you. Share this out. Help me too much. Be sure to check out my Freedom Money of the uninterrupted version over there. Okay, so here we go. Part four.
Part four. All right. So we go to Home Depot. We go to Lowe's. I'm choosing all these appliances. He's taking pictures of the SKU number. We have representatives helping us, and he basically explained to them, "Hey, we're buying a house. We should be closing sometime in June. Can we order this stuff now? Can I put a hold on it? Like, what can we do? Because we're not ready for delivery."
Okay.
I stood there as the Home Depot rep said, "We can hold it in our warehouse. Like, you can buy something and we can hold it." People do it all the time, especially with COVID.
Okay.
So I watched him pay. I want to say it was about it was either $350 or $500. I watched him pay a deposit on a whole new set of appliances for them, and they were going to hold it until we were ready for delivery.
Oh, okay.
I watched this, so I was like, okay, good deal. Like, we got the appliances. Next, let's go to Rooms to Go and Ashley Furniture and find actual furniture. So we went all around Rooms to Go. We went to Ashley Furniture. We went to American Signature, and I saw all these things that I wanted. Again, he's taking pictures of it. He was like, I can go online and order it. I didn't think anything of it because, again, I just saw that we held the appliances. Right. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So April turns into May. May 2020 comes. This is where things start to get a little interesting. May comes, and obviously we had not done inspection. And I'm asking him all the time, so what's the deal with the house? He was like, well, because of COVID, they're trying to get someone to do the inspection, but the guy that they had, it was always something, the guy they had caught COVID, so they're going to have to get somebody else, and he's like 15 houses backed up, so it'll be a while. Okay. So at this point in May, I know I look crazy. In this point in May of 2020, I started recording audio diaries. I don't know why. Something just made me just start recording my thoughts in an audio diary. And
that was the Lord.
I would save them by the date, and I would just start talking about what's on my mind. Okay. So I was like, I knew there was something. Something was nagging me, like, but I kept pushing it out of my mind. I was like, you saw, this is what I reminded myself. You saw him pay for the appliances. You know the house is under contract. Right. You know that he told you that he's the one who put the house.
Oh, it's freezing up a little bit. But that was the Holy Ghost. That was God letting you know.
Contract. Why would, like, I remember saying to myself, why would he lie about that? This is so easy to
my God.
Verify. Right. Why would he lie about that? Have you caught him in any other lie? And at the time, the answer was no. So I really was like, maybe you just aren't used to a guy who actually does what he's supposed to do. Like, I was questioning myself and then answering my own questions. So inspection didn't happen. Around mid-May, I found out I was pregnant. May 2020. What? When I found out I was pregnant, he was ecstatic, and I was like, oh shit. The reason why I was oh shit is because
oh my gosh, she was pregnant. Yeah, this is what happened when you shack up, girl. You get pregnant. You're knocking boots.
One, I'm plus size. Number two, because of my age, I felt like it was probably gonna be a high risk pregnancy. And I wasn't married. And that nagged. I cannot tell y'all how much it nagged me. There was a lot of internal struggle. Right. In between. My family didn't even know that he had moved in.
See there?
I told them, that I was pregnant. Went to the doctor. Everything looked good. But again, because it was COVID, he couldn't go in with me into the actual room. So, doing any sort of ultrasound, doing the blood test, because my HCG levels were really high. So the doctor was like, hey, it might be twins. We don't know yet. You're still kind of early, along. They gave me a due date. Due date was January 26th of 2021. So, yeah, May, found out I was pregnant. So there was now more of a push into, we got to get a house. We got to get the fuck up out of here. I'm not having a baby in Riverdale. Okay, nothing against Riverdale, but I ain't having a baby in Riverdale. So we need to find out what's going on with this house. And so he was on top of it. He had an answer for everything. He was like, I'm gonna call and find out what's going on. Blah blah blah. He then magically told me about a week later, oh, they're going to do inspection on the house like in 2 days. Okay. So I was just like, okay. Keep in mind, I'm taking his word for it. I'm taking his word for all this. So he's like, they're going to do an inspection. Once we get the inspection report back, then we will know what we are going to be responsible for. What are we getting ourselves into? Right. So, I guess they did an inspection. He showed me an inspection report. The only thing that they said that the roof had just recently been replaced, which I remember he was very happy about. Okay. And the issues that there were for the house were minor. It was not a bad, because we did have a discussion about it. He was like, it's nothing that we can't handle. Then he said that we were set to close the end of May. Okay. We were set to close the end of May. He told me it was going to be a virtual closing. You're probably like, what the hell is a virtual closing? Because again, he's saying because COVID, people are not closing in the office. They're doing a virtual closing where you would need to electronically sign the paperwork. This is what he's telling me. And so he was like, we're set to close like just before Memorial Day.
Okay.
And so for some reason, again, there's still that nagging part. For some reason, I didn't start packing. Anyone that knows me will tell you I hate moving. I've done it enough in my life. I hate moving. But I did not start packing up that house at all. I was just like, you know, I'm pregnant. My body was changing so fast that it was like I could barely keep my eyes open half a day. And so, no, I didn't start packing. And I remember I did record, again, I was recording audio.
It's going in and out, in and out. Come on, babes. Come on. Maybe I should pause it for a minute. Let me pause it.
Audio diary just about every day. Okay. When something didn't sit right, I would verbally record it in the audio diary because I was like, I don't know what it is.
That was the
there's something.
Yes.
That was the theme of our relationship. I don't know what it is, but I know there's something.
Jesus.
And so I remember talking to myself in my little prayer closet because that's where I would do my recordings. And I remember thinking, what if we don't get this house? Like, what if he's lying? But again, there goes that thought process of, why would he lie about this? Like, who makes up that they're buying a house when in fact they're not? And then he's showing you all this paperwork. Like, come on, you can't be that jaded that you don't even believe what's in front of you.
Right.
All right. So now we're going to go into part 5.
Okay. Part 5.
Okay.
Bring it now.
Who the fuck did I marry? So I'm questioning all this stuff in my head out loud on my audio diaries. And then once again, I'm like, but look at what he's giving you. Like,
wow.
He's paying. It wasn't a question about money. It was just a question of, are we really about to move into this house? And keep in mind, he's paying all the household bills. He still is. So we were supposed to close before Memorial Day. We didn't. There was an excuse. There was always an excuse with him. Always an excuse. And I didn't know enough about the process to question stuff because I really wasn't involved the way I should have been. Right. And it was giving me a lot of anxiety. So I'm pregnant with a lot of anxiety. And if I'm gonna be 100% honest with y'all, I was not expecting that I was probably going to have a healthy pregnancy because I was stressed. And what I was stressed about is I didn't know what was going on because I wasn't really involved the way that a normal relationship would be involved.
Right.
Just being honest. So we did not close around now into June. This is now going into June. Around June 5th, I looked at the house again on realtor.com. I don't know what made me do it other than, and I don't mean to sound super spiritual. I know that people are like, you know, you may or may not believe in God, but I'm telling you, I believe with all my heart. Probably the Holy Spirit was like, look at that house on realtor.com. So I looked at the house on realtor.com. This was around June 5th. It showed that the house was off the market.
Off the market.
And I remember being like, okay, wait, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because ex-husband is telling me we're about to close on the house. We're about to close. It's our house. We got furniture. Right. He's also telling me that he's been in contact with the realtor, his friend, who was telling him, you know, this is what was happening next. Here's what's going on. So the guy that we initially worked with apparently is completely out of the picture. But again, I was not heavily involved. So I was just like, let me look at the house. I see it's off market. What the fuck does off market mean? Like now I'm ready for the house. So it shows the name of the real estate agent for the seller. I don't remember her name. I called her. Right. And I said, you know, excuse me. I said, my husband and I, even though I wasn't married, my husband and I were looking at this house at 123 Main Street. And we really wanted to tour it, but now I'm showing it's off market. Is it not available? Or, you know, I pulled that card and she was like, oh, no, ma'am. The home closed yesterday. It closed June 4th. Again, there's certain dates I just remember. And I said, oh, it closed June 4th? I was like, really? She said, yes, ma'am. She was like, my sellers sold the house. And I was like, oh, man, okay. Well, I said, my husband and I really wanted, you know, we love the pictures of it. And we're getting ready to start a family. So I would have loved to have been able to, you know, have the opportunity to see it. I asked her something. I don't remember the specific question I asked her. And I know why I asked the question because I was anticipating that my boyfriend at the time was going to have some sort of excuse. So I asked her something about the buyers. And I remember, and somehow, again, forgive me, I don't remember the question I asked her, but the answer was that it was an older white couple.
What?
Older white couple. So I get off the phone with her. I record an audio diary. And in the audio diary, I specifically say, okay, there is no house. He's going to have to get out of this lie somehow. Because now I realize, at the very least, he was lying about him being the one who was under contract.
Right.
I knew enough about that. So I was like,
mm, 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 mm. I should
What how is he going to get out of this?
right.
Again, I've listened to the audio diary in 2024. I literally said in that audio diary, how is he going to get out of this lie?
Mm.
And I was trying to think of ways on how he's going to do it. And something said to me, because I say it on the audio diary, I said, he's going to say it's a bad deal. And he's going to say he wants to pull out.
Wow.
Y'all keep in mind, I am pregnant. So I had a decision to make.
Yes.
As ugly as this decision was, I made the decision. You're about to have a baby with this man. He's paying all the household bills. Let him get out of the lie. And that's what I did. I purposely made the decision that I knew he was going to come back, and I knew he was going to give me some bullshit on why he couldn't buy the house, because he didn't know that I knew that house is already sold. The house is already sold.
Let me stop right here, because I was listening to the wife, the first wife, and one of the things she said was he did the same thing to her with the promising things, the house, the car, the this. And I just thought about my dad, and I said, I got to call Bishop today. I have to call Bishop, because Bishop always, pastor at the time, told us, don't take nothing from a man. Don't expect him to give you anything. Get your own AAA. Don't ask him for money. Don't ask him to pay your rent. Have your own, because men use things to get us. Men know we want the car, we want the house, we want the ring, we want the money. So they will use that to draw us in so that we can miss the red flags. Ladies, have your own stuff. You're not married. That is not your husband. Don't take nothing from these men. And this is exactly what got her caught up. And listen to what she said. Because he was paying all the bills. So even though he was paying all the bills, ma'am, you knew he was lying and he was a liar. But because you need him to do all those things for you, you just kind of, okay, I know he's lying, but okay, he's paying the bills. But ladies, if you had your own stuff before, and y'all know I am all for husbands provided. My husband provide. We've been married 11 years. I ain't never paid a mortgage. I don't know what it's like to pay a mortgage bill, because my husband is the provider. But while we were dating, I had my own. I asked him for nothing. He was going away on a trip one time, and he was giving me. I said, no, thank you. I'm good. He had to leave it in my car on the floor. And he was going away for 2 weeks. He left it in my car on the floor, because I was like, I don't need anything. I wouldn't take anything from him other than gifts, birthday, Valentine's, so on and so forth. So ladies, when you are in need, you have to be careful, because a man might just come with what you need, and you gonna overlook all the red flags he's showing you because you're needy and desperate.
And this is the part where I said, I'm gonna be honest, even though it's gonna make me look bad. Because most women in their right mind would have been like, I'm out.
Right.
And I didn't. So, sure enough, he came home. He didn't really say anything that day. The next day I asked him about the house. And he said, my friend, the realtor, he was like, I'm talking to him because something's going on with the interest rate. And when he said that, I felt so much relief, because I knew that I had been prepared for he's gonna give me some bullshit.
Oh,
so when he said there's something with the interest rate, I said, you know what? This is literally what I said, y'all. If the interest rate isn't good, then we shouldn't move there. We should probably let this house go. We should cancel whatever furniture we ordered, or appliances, and let's just look for another house. I said I would like to be moved before the end of the year. I said I really don't want to be 9 months pregnant moving into a house. I would like to be done with this before then.
Right.
And the way I said it was so calm. And he was like, okay. He was like, I'm gonna call the friend, the realtor, and tell him I'm backing out of the house, and I'm gonna see if I can get my earnest money back. And I remember looking at him. I was standing in the kitchen, and I cocked my head to the side, and I said, okay, get your earnest money back, and let's find another house.
Oh, okay.
And so that's how that first house fell through. So, fast forward. I keep looking at this to see how much time I have, because they only give you 10 minutes. So this is part 5. Part 6 is coming up. But subsequently, what ends up happening the next week, which is mid-June, I was at work, and I started cramping, started bleeding.
Oh my God.
And at this point, my doctor, I had just had an ultrasound earlier that day.
Jesus.
So I went to work, because the ultrasound was fine. I went to work, and the cramping and the bleeding started, and I started crying, because I kind of knew what was going on.
Jesus.
And my doctor had called me and told me that when they did the ultrasound, they did not see a heartbeat.
Oh my
like, this pregnancy is not
God.
going to be viable. So I'm crying and hysterical. And now we're going to get into part 6.
Okay. Wow. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so this is part 6 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So where we left off.
Stress.
So obviously, my doctor had called and told me there was no heartbeat, the pregnancy was not viable at that point, and I was cramping and spotting at work.
So sorry.
Went into my best friend's office and immediately started crying. She was like, "What's going on?" And I said, I told her what the doctor said, and she grabbed her keys, grabbed her purse, and was like, "Let's go, I'm taking you home." On my way home, I called my boyfriend and told him what the doctor said, and he was like, "I'll meet you at home." So he was coming from Duluth, went straight home. And so about 24, 48 hours later, I had a doctor's appointment, and my doctor gave me 3 options. First option, let everything happen naturally. Your body will expel the fetus on its own. Second option, you can take a pill which will induce expelling the fetus at home. The pill basically will cause you to contract and expel. The third option was to go into the hospital and do a D&C. I did not want to do a D&C because I did not want to be in a hospital with COVID going on. And for whatever reason, I did not do the option of let it happen naturally. So I chose to do the pill. His birthday was June 17th. My ex's birthday was June 17th. So the decision was made, we're going to celebrate his birthday that day, go out to eat. And then that night I would take the pill because we both were off from work the next 2 days. So went out to eat, tried to celebrate as best we could, and then took the pill that night. That night was the most traumatic, excruciating pain I've ever put my body through.
Oh my God.
I do not recommend any woman, prayerfully you don't have to go through that, but I don't recommend taking that pill. If you don't have to, don't do it.
Jesus.
I spent the whole night in the bathroom just crying in so much pain. They gave me a narcotic. I couldn't take it because I found out I was allergic to it, so it was causing me to like projectile vomiting. It was a mess. So, and he was right there. You know, he was scared that he needed to take me to the ER, but in the morning, the pain kind of subsided. So about 72 hours later, I had another doctor's appointment where the purpose of this appointment was to do an ultrasound to see if everything had passed. Everything did not pass. So because of that, my doctor was like, we're going to have to do a D&C. My D&C was scheduled for the first week of July. My boyfriend, my ex, was going to take me. That was always the plan. 2 days before my procedure, he comes home and tells me that he is up for promotion. He's up to be promoted to VP. Because of this, the president of the company, is coming in, and it was going to be this huge business meeting he had to go to. The business meeting was scheduled for the day of my surgery. And so I'm throwing a fit because I was like, you there's no way you can do that meeting. Like, I need you to take me to the hospital and all this other stuff. And so he offered to have his sister take me to the hospital. Apparently his sister lived in Douglasville. I was like, no, because I've never met her. Like, I'm not having a stranger take me to the hospital. No, this is a private situation. I don't want to do that, blah, blah, blah. So my aunt had offered to take me. And then my friend who took me home from work had offered to take me. So at that point, we get into an argument because he's like, my sister is, you about your family, so why can't she step in? And I was like, no, because I don't know her. Period. Right. I don't know her. So my friend offers to take me to the hospital because I was all distressed that he's saying he has a business meeting and he can't take me. So I remember being on I-75 on the connector on the phone with her crying because I was so embarrassed that he wasn't going to be the one to take me and that I was needing to rely on someone else to take me to the hospital in order to get a D&C done. And she was really great. She was like, girl, this is why you have a village. Like, it's okay. Things happen. The world is crazy right now. I will take you. You're going to be okay. So he did not take me to the hospital for my D&C. My friend did. She could not stay because of COVID protocol. So when they wheeled me into pre-op after I got checked in, I texted him and was just letting him know, hey, here's the update. I'm about to, I'm in pre-op. They're going to get me prepared to go back to the surgical ward or whatever. And the response I got was from his new executive assistant named David. Now, when he told me he was up for the promotion, he did tell me that part of getting this new job would be that he would get an executive assistant named David. And he did tell me, I'm going to make sure that I inform David, if you get a text from this number, meaning from me, pull me out of the meeting. She's having a procedure done and I'm picking her up. So it's important that you come get me if it's something serious. So I text him. David responds. He said, yeah, Mr. Blah, blah told me that you are having a procedure done. If you need me to get him, I can go get him. He's in a meeting. Just let me know what you need. And I just said, no, don't bother him. I'm just giving an update that they're about to take me back. And David responds and says, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Please let me know if there's anything I can do. So I have the procedure. I wake up and I'm now in recovery. I should be in recovery 45 minutes up to an hour and a half. I wake up. First thing I ask, and I remember asking, is where is so-and-so? The nurse who was so sweet. She was like, everything went well. You're doing great. She said, we spoke to your fiance. He's on his way. So I said, okay, I kind of dozed back out, but I could still hear everything that was going on. I just could not keep my eyes open to save my life. So I hear her talk to the other nurse. And that's when she said, yeah, Dr. So-and-so called her fiance and his executive assistant picked up. And the executive assistant said that he was in a business meeting and that, you could relate to him what you need to say, and he'll, you know, he'll tell the fiance.
Whoa.
My doctor was like, hell no. I need to speak to him. So apparently my fiance called the doctor back about 30 minutes later, and the doctor informed him she'll be ready to be discharged in about an hour. You know, you can make your way and come pick her up. He said he was on his way. He was on his way from Duluth to Atlanta, which is not a huge distance, but the time of day, one thing about Atlanta, there's always traffic. So he should have been there within the hour.
Right.
I should have only been in recovery an hour and a half. Let's go to the next part. Part 7. Who the fuck did I marry?
Jesus.
So I should have been in recovery at Northside Hospital for about at most an hour and a half. Subsequently, I ended up being in recovery between 3 to 3.5 hours. The nurses kept calling my ex, asking what's the status, because they were actually getting ready to do a shift change. So they kept calling, asking what's the status? What's the status? Like, where are you? I want to say that they called a total of 3 times and they spoke to him twice. So at this point, I knew that they were all like, where's her fiance? Like, what is going on? He said he was stuck in traffic, and so he was making his way there. He eventually did get to Northside Hospital, and they wheeled me down because, again, he couldn't come in just because of the protocols. So when I got in the car, and I'm in pain, to get drugged up, couldn't keep my eyes open, couldn't really, I was just out of it. But I remember him calling my aunt and my mother and letting them know I picked her up. We're on the way home. Let me get her settled, and then I'll give you guys an update. I remember that. What I did not know was that he had texted my aunt and my mom and asked them to not bother me for like a week. Like, just please don't reach out to her. Let her just rest. I am from New Jersey. I am from an African-American family. You don't tell or my black aunt that
don't call me for a week. Okay, you might have unalived her.
I'm just interjecting that part. I'm trying to stay in the time. He do that, and my aunt was like, "Why will fuck you up?" Anyway, so go home. He waits on me hand and foot. I recover. Just needed about 24 to 48 hours to just get my mind right. During this time, in between when the house in Douglasville fell through, we had not talked about a house. So I guess it was about a week later after the DNC. He decides that, you know, do you want to start looking for a house? I pick up, y'all. Do you want to start looking for a house again? Because of what happened with the house.
And let me stop.
I felt like I was smarter this time.
Stop here, ladies. We know that women can miscarry for a number of reasons, okay? But when you choose a husband, a man that's going to elevate your stress level, that doesn't help, because we already know stress is a huge factor in losing a baby. She was so stressed out about this whole situation because of this liar. Okay, and then she said her weight and her age. Okay, we know those are also factors, but we also know that especially Black women, we're having babies 40s, 50s, little, small, big, whatever. Of course, you want to be the healthiest you can be, whatever your doctor says your healthy is, okay? But when you choose a man that's going to cause you to worry and stress and struggle versus a man that's going to cause you to rest and relax, and you don't have to worry about anything, and you trust him with your life and your baby life, that helps. Okay?
To say, you know, I want to be involved in every aspect, because I don't know what the fuck happened with that house in Douglasville. But what I do know is that he lied to me. I didn't know then what I know now. I just knew he lied about I knew he lied about being under contract.
Right.
So I told him, I said, I don't want to work with your friend who I've never met, never talked to. I know that he has talked to him because he's talked to him in front of me. And I'm going to demonstrate on one of the videos how he used to do his phone calls. Don't worry, it's coming. So we found a new real estate agent. Really nice guy. His name was Scott. I am using his real name. Really nice guy. And we told him what the budget was. And Scott was like, okay, when you guys are ready, we can start looking at houses. Try to look for houses that are empty, because you can actually tour those. If it's a house where someone's already living in there, chances are it's going to be a virtual tour because of COVID. So I found a house that I absolutely, in total, we must have looked at about 15 houses. But I found a house in Smyrna that I absolutely loved. We toured the house. Everything about this house was perfect. The house was listed for $699,000. It was a brand new construction build. The only issue was that the basement was not finished, and he wanted the basement to be his man cave. Again, I went with him to tour this house, so this was already feeling very different than the situation in Douglasville. Because we did not actually tour the Douglasville house. We only did a FaceTime virtual tour. This house in Smyrna, we toured. We toured this house more than once, and it was gorgeous, fucking gorgeous. So We talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he had the money.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the price was $6.99. He said he felt comfortable putting in an all cash offer. If you remember on the videos before,
What?
He told me he had money in his savings from when he played football. So when he said an all cash offer, even I knew you got that kind of money, like
girl,
$699,000.
right?
He told me he did. He had money in savings from when he played football, and he was very comfortable paying all cash for this home. So the real estate agent, Scott, sent over the paperwork. The paperwork was sent in both of our names. It was sent to my email. That was another thing that I changed after Douglasville. Everything gets sent to me, and then I will be sure that he signs it. So he sent it to me. I looked over the offer. We were going to put in an all cash full price offer with a request to have the basement finished. Also, we were requesting for the seller to give us an answer within 24 hours.
Wow.
We were requesting a quick closing. These are just some things I remember. I remember 24, like I didn't want to wait on, y'all think about it. 24 hours, let us know if you're accepting the offer or not. And then also a quick closing because it was a new construction. So we didn't have to wait for the current tenant to move out.
Right.
So I watched in our bedroom as he pulled it up because it was a electronic document. He signed his name to the offer for $699,000 cash. He requested again, the seller let us know in 24 hours if they were accepting the offer.
Okay.
So we submitted the offer at around 6 p.m. We were requesting that by 6 p.m. the next day, they let us know if the offer was accepted or not.
Okay.
I watched him sign the offer. I sent the offer back to Scott from my email. All parties had signed. Scott texted us and said, I got it. I'm submitting it. I will let you know what they say. Let's go into part 7.
Whoa.
Sorry. Let's go into part 8.
Right.
Is getting long. Okay. So I just want to clear up some things that I realize is kind of creating some confusion. So just allow this video to serve as a stop sign. Let's clarify. First of all, the story, background. He was born in Philly, raised in Philly, and moved to Augusta. Story is he moved to Augusta for high school. After high school, he went to college at San Diego State. Enjoyed San Diego State, stayed in San Diego for quite a while. Got married out in California, had a house in California, played arena football out in California, but his family was back here in Augusta, Georgia. He still had a lot of family up in Philly, but for the most part, he had a sister in Augusta, he had a sister in Douglasville, he had a brother in Baltimore, he had another brother in Philly, and he had a brother in Nashville. So I just want to clarify that in terms of not the demographics, but the geography. Born in Philly, came to Augusta for high school, went to San Diego State for college, played football, stayed in San Diego, got married out there, but still had quite a bit of family here.
I got it.
He also had a sister, I think I said, who lived in Douglasville. I have physically met his aunt who lives in Augusta. I met his brother who lives in Augusta. I have spoken on FaceTime with a brother who lives in Baltimore. And then I will demonstrate how he used to talk to the brother that lives in Philly. That's coming up. You haven't missed that. In terms of the proposal. You did not miss the story of the proposal. I simply didn't want to share it because it was embarrassing. Basically, he gave me 3 ring options. We went to a jeweler at the Mall of Georgia. He had me pick out 3 rings. I told him which one I liked the most because I knew it wasn't a romantic proposal at all. I knew which ring I liked the most. I told him which one. He basically said, when I'm ready, I'll give you the ring and I'll propose. Fast forward about, I guess, the summer, because I was actually pregnant when the ring came. We were sitting at the dinner table. He took the ring box out of his pocket, slammed it on the dinner table, and I was like, what is this? He was like, open it. I opened it. Inside was the ring that I had wanted, that I had chosen at the jeweler. And he was like, all right, so this means that you're going to be my wife.
What?
I was pregnant. So, again, when I asked y'all to give me grace, it's because there are certain things that's just like, girl, what was you thinking?
Girl, you was desperate, child. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, Tisa.
So there was never a, will you marry me?
Ugh.
It was more of a, we're living together, we're having a baby together, we need to get married, because the backstory also was that his dad was a retired police officer, but at one point his father was a pastor. So he could quote the Bible like nobody's business, as well as Lucifer. But
watch him.
He could quote the Bible like no one's business. And so that's how we ended up engaged. And I was wearing a ring. I will find a picture and I will try to post it. But I was wearing a ring. Don't worry, there's more to that story as well. So just wanted to clarify some things.
I'm sure there is, girl. Girl, this is a lot. This is a lot, Tisa. You had a lot of red flags, girl. There was a whole lot of red flags, baby. I hope you're in counseling. I hope you'll take my husband profile courses. We got to figure out why you overlooked all this red flags.
Wasn't it weird that he had a sister who lived close, but he's from Philly? So I just wanted to definitely bring clarity to what he told me was the backstory. Born in Philly, came to Augusta for high school, went to California for college, played football at San Diego State, played football and arena football, worked at Apple, and then joined a conjuring company in California, who then transferred him back to Georgia. He was married in California, and he told me he got divorced in California. That is important as well. That will come up again later. And so the ex-wife At this point in time, at the time that I'm telling you, part 7, which is the last video I just posted, the ex-wife lived in California with her 2 kids, his 2 stepkids. The 2 stepkids were 17 and 20 or 21, but they were that age group. And he was saying that he was very close with them, so he wanted to keep a tight relationship with them.
Okay.
And he talked to them, if not every day, every other day. When I say this, I need y'all to understand. When I say that he talked to someone, it means that he was on the phone in front of me talking to the person. I hope that because I will touch back on this. He was on the phone in front of me talking to the person. So he talked to his siblings every day. He talked to his aunt almost every day. He talked to his family the way I talk to my family almost every day. And again, I will demonstrate how he used to do the phone calls. I will also demonstrate how he used to do the work phone calls because he called me every single day from work.
Oh, wow.
And he would talk to people while he was on the phone with me. And I could hear people in the background.
Okay.
But that's a whole nother part. So again, buckle your seats. I promise I'm reading your comments, I'm reading your questions, but I wanted to bring this video just to clarify some stuff.
Okay.
And honestly, I know people are fascinated by this, but more than anything, I hope that there's a woman watching this and she's saying to herself, okay, it's time for me to ask some questions. That's my hope. All right, part 8 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So we submitted an offer on the house in Smyrna. I sent it over to Scott, our realtor, and the next day comes, Scott asks if we can take a phone call. So he calls us and tells us that the offer was not accepted and the builder did not do a counter offer. We don't exactly know why. We don't exactly know why he didn't accept it, but the bottom line is that we figured out later on that he didn't want to finish the basement. So the offer was not accepted. The house fell through. I was okay with that because, again, I knew he had put in an offer. So we continued looking at other houses. We found another house in Smyrna that he really liked. I thought that it was way too big for just the 2 of us. And so the price of this home was much higher than the $750,000 that Chase had approved for the mortgage. So what he explained to me was that he was willing to do the $750,000 mortgage, and he was also willing to put a significant amount of the money in savings on the house, which meant that he was now comfortable going from $750,000 up to about $900,000.
Oh,
again, his whole explanation was, I have the money where I can put down a substantial down payment, bring down the price of the home, and then basically mortgage the rest of it. So that was now the plan. I was not comfortable with a home over $900,000. But again, keep in mind, I saw the Chase paperwork, so I was like, I just feel more comfortable sticking at the $750,000 mark. That's what you're approved for. Let's go with that. By this point, this is now fall of 2020. We had been talking about marriage. I had my ring. He had made VP at the company. And again, he was calling me every day from work. I need to kind of explain how the company was ran, because when you think VP, you would think he would be in an office. It was a condiment company. So they actually were producing the condiments. And I'm not saying the name of the company on purpose, but they were producing the condiments in this particular plant location. So a lot of times he would simply tell me that he walked the floor, checking in with his subordinates, basically. Now, how did he go to work? For the most part, at this point, he left before I woke up. However, pretty much he wore dress pants, kind of like a dark navy blue cargo pant. And he had a polo shirt with the company logo on it. What I saw a lot of times is that he would not wear the polo shirt to work. He would wear like a company t-shirt. He would wear rubber sole shoes and the navy blue cargo pants. I didn't think it was a uniform, but it reminded me of what someone would wear when I worked at Amazon, if you're only doing manual labor. He didn't go to work sloppy looking at all, but it definitely was not suit and tie. Nowhere near suit and tie. It is fair to note that outside of work, he was a man who he loved to dress. He loved to wear the latest Jordans. He loved to collect watches. He collected a lot of Invicta watches. He loved to collect hats. He wore hats, baseball caps everywhere because he didn't like the shape of his head. So in terms of how he dressed casually, the man could dress. In terms of how he dressed for work, yeah, he didn't dress like a VP. But his excuse was, I'm constantly walking the production floor, and I can't be in a suit and tie walking the production floor where they're creating the condiments that we're selling. So by this point, again, this is fall. We're still looking at houses. We're still touring houses as much as we can because it is COVID. We had found another house that we really liked, and a house that I really truly wanted to put an offer in on. This was now going to be the second house that we put an offer on. He put in the asking price, I believe, was about $700,000. He put in under asking an offer for about $650,000. I'm guessing that I'll try to find the house and put it on the story. The reason that house fell through, we found out that the home was sitting on a septic tank. We found out the septic tank had an issue, and it would have taken about $15,000 to $20,000 to fix the septic tank. The sellers were not willing to fix the septic tank. Personally, I didn't really care for the house that much. I'm the one who was like, I don't really want it. So even though we put an offer in, we had 24 hours where we could pull our offer back. And so we did. Once we found out, I believe it was in the disclosure. And if you're a realtor, please feel free to tell me if I'm using the wrong terminology. But I believe it was in the disclosure that they told us the septic tank needs to be replaced. That's when I was like, nah, I don't want that house. So we pulled out. The house fell through. And so I was fine with it because, again, I was heavily involved. I saw him sign the offer. I knew every step of what was going on. Our real estate agent, Scott, was amazing, but you will see when I get to it where he made a mistake as a real estate agent. So house number 2 fell through. We then moved on, saw a few more houses, and then we get to house number 3. I'm going to pause talking about the houses because now I need to introduce what happened with the cars.
Oh, child, there's more of the car.
Part 9 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry?
Yes.
So we're pausing on the house stuff. Let me tell you about the car. So when I met my ex-husband, I was driving a 2012 Nissan Rogue, fully loaded. Had quite a few miles on it, but it got me from A to B. It was in good condition, but I was upside down in the car. He was driving a 2018 Ford Taurus. Sport mode. I know he had a sport mode on the car, and I love driving that car. When he told me how he was a regional manager, he told me that one of the perks that came with the job was that he would be getting a company car. And so we spent time going to Range Rover of South Atlanta. We spent time going to Jaguar. We spent time going to BMW. We spent time going to Ford, which was on Mount Zion in Morrow, if you all are familiar with that area. He test drove a whole lot of cars. In the end, he decided on a BMW sedan. I was there when he...
Hold on, girl.
Test drove the car. I got
my kids up. Hold on, boo. I got to wait the babies up. Okay, girl. Go ahead and tell us about the cars.
With him. I loved it. And he explained to the salesperson, I'm getting a company car. I need to get a printout of the full price of the car, tax, tag, and title. Because what my company is going to do is wire over the money for the car. The salesperson was like, okay, apparently that happens a lot. So he gave him a printout with the tax, tag, and title for the car. In front of me and the salesperson, he called the person in the finance department for his job. Obviously, I have no idea what this person's name is, but he called the person. He explained to them, this is the amount of money. He said the president of the company, so-and-so, has authorized for him to get a car, not spending more than, I think, $90,000 tax, tag, and title. The BMW came out to just under $90,000.
Wow.
And so I remember this conversation so fucking vividly. So he's on the phone in front. I'm sitting down. The salesperson sitting down at their desk, and he's like, they put me on hold. And so he's like, I guess the person comes back, and he says, the price of the car is blah blah blah. He was like, give me a second, and I can send you a picture of that printout that shows tax, tag, and title for the BMW.
Okay.
He gets off the phone. He takes a picture of it. He sends it to whoever. He waits about 10 minutes. He calls the person back. He says, did you get it? Apparently the person did get it, but the person who can actually physically do the wire transfer had gone home for the day. So what he says to the BMW salesperson, he's like, okay, we're going to have to do this tomorrow because so-and-so went home for the day. I don't know who the salesperson is. I can only tell you from my viewpoint what I thought. I had no reason to think this was a lie. I really didn't. Because again, you got to please keep in mind the circumstances that all of this is happening. We're inside the dealership. We're sitting at the desk of this person. He gave us the printout. He's on the phone, doing business, basically saying, look, this is how much money the car is going to cost. He's taking a picture of it. He seemingly is texting someone saying, this is how much, this is proof of how much it is. Right. Then he asked the BMW salesperson, I need your wire transfer information. The guy got up, rushed over to, I guess, their finance area to get the bank wire information. Because obviously you have to wire it a certain kind of way. Rushes back over, gives it to my ex-husband. My ex-husband's like, okay, first thing in the morning, we will get this wired over, and then, I'll come and pick up the car. My fiance, will drive me up here to pick up the car. So we leave.
Okay.
He felt like, because at the time that this all happened, I was pregnant. So he felt like, look, we're about to have a baby. I don't want you driving that Nissan Rogue. I want to get you something more secure, something new. I really wanted a Kia. I really wanted a Kia Telluride. And he was like, well, let's look at the warranty. This man knew a lot about cars. He knew a lot about the warranty. He knew a lot about the depreciation value. And so he did talk to me a lot about what will we get the most for our money. We test drove, when I say we, I test drove a Kia Telluride, a Kia Sorento. He didn't like either of those. He had me.
And another thing, the stranger you just met, you're having unprotected sex with him. So you don't know if he got AIDS, STD, herpes, gonorrhea, chlamydia. You don't know none of this, right? You just did the do with the man, the stranger you just met, unprotected. Okay, girl, I'm listening to it all. I'm taking it all in.
Test drive a Ford Explorer. He didn't really care for that. Then came time where he really wanted me to get a BMW. He really wanted me to get a BMW X5. So he took me to
Girl, this is a lot.
Local BMW imports, which, if you know anything about Atlanta, it's off of Parkway, but you can see it off the highway. I believe 285 is where you can see the Global Imports BMW dealership. He took me there. He had me test drive an X5 and X6. He also had me test drive I think I'm gonna get the numbers wrong, a 525, which was a sedan. I did not like that. I wanted an SUV.
Yeah, for the baby.
I loved driving the BMW. He also had me drive an M Series, test drive an M Series. So he was very adamant that I should get a BMW. The reason being is because, according to him, he had a BMW in California when he lived in San Diego. He had a BMW that he loved. It was a white BMW. He showed me pictures of the BMW. So he showed me pictures of this white BMW that he had. And unfortunately, the car got totaled about 2 months before he moved to Georgia. So he had received money, not a lot, but some money to get another car, and he used it to get the Ford Taurus because he was like, I just need a car that's going to get me from A to B until I get into a house and I'm much more settled. For him, he was like, I'm really giving myself 60 days to get settled here in Georgia after moving from California. But then he met me. Again, that's the story. So he had me test drive the BMW. So much so, I loved the BMW. Loved it. I wanted a dark blue BMW with cognac interior. I wanted an X5, and I wanted an M Series. So I can clearly tell y'all that's exactly the car I wanted. We were online looking for that particular car because not every dealership had it. I was okay with a black BMW if needed, but I really wanted dark blue, and I really wanted that cognac colored interior. Okay. So he felt like, I want you to consider all of a sudden an Audi Q8. Let's just see how you like it. If you don't really like it, then we will go back to the BMW. Okay. I cannot tell you why he switched up. I can't. But I can tell you he took me to an Audi dealership on Peachtree Industrial. He test drove an Audi, and I test drove an Audi Q8. I loved the Q8. Loved it. But I was tired of test driving cars. By this point, I had test driven so many cars. Our weekends were spent either looking at a house or test driving cars. Wow. And I was picky, I will admit that. So he had me test drive the Q8. I really liked it. I finally just told him, look, I'm good with either the BMW or the Audi, because I'm tired of test driving cars. He told my family he was buying me a new car because, keep in mind, let me let y'all know, he had met my family initially on Zoom because, again, we were locked down. He had met my family. He also had met my family in person because at this point it was like, look, if you're not showing any symptoms, maybe we can do family dinner. And so he had met my family in person. And now we will go ahead and move towards part 10 of this series. Okay, part 10. Part 10.
Yes, girl, tell us.
Okay, had to sneeze. All right, so at this point, I had test driven all these cars. Kias, hell, he even had me test drive a Nissan Murano, but the main two were BMW and an Audi. He had told my grandfather he was getting me a car. He had told my aunt he was getting me a car. That he was going to, he was like, she's going to be my wife. I want her to be in something secure. So my family was really like, wow,
with no proof. With no proof, girl. This was just based on what he's saying.
Who knew that he had this kind of money? And so I hated the fact that he did that, because anytime he got around my family, here's another red flag to put in the United Nations of red flags. He would always talk about money, and he would always brag. I never realized it in real time. I didn't realize it until I was out of the situation. He always bragged about the fact that he could fight, the fact that he had money, and the fact that he played football. Those are the three things he always bragged about. Oh, wow. Back to cars. So I told him, I was like, pick one between the BMW and the Audi, because you said you're buying it. So pick one. So this man chose the Audi. So he takes me to the dealership. I wanted a white Q8. He does give me the printout of how much it's going to cost, tax, tag, and title to get this Q8. Gentleman who's helping us gives him the printout. He's saying he's going to pay this money
for what? He gonna pay for what now?
The car out of the savings account that's offshore. Oh, that's the story. Jesus. That's what he's saying. So he apparently is asking the guy, is there a holding fee? Can I pay a holding fee to secure this car while I'm working to get the money transferred? Because obviously with COVID, it's going to take long for the banks to transfer the money. Okay. Side note, I need everyone to understand, one of the reasons why he was able to get away with the stuff he got away with is because we were on lockdown. It's crazy because it's now 2024, but I don't know, do we all remember how it seemed like a lot of stuff stopped in 2020 now? Keep in mind, that's not an excuse I'm making, because shit still got done. But in terms of business as usual just was not happening in 2020 at this time. So when he's saying, it's going to take a while for the bank to transfer the money, the gentleman who was working at Audi he didn't make a face. He didn't blink. He was like, I know it's going to take a while because of COVID. Right. So basically what ends up happening is we leave. He has the printout. He calls the bank, or he calls his financial advisor, who does have a name. The financial advisor's name is Eric. I feel comfortable using certain people's names, especially if we find out they didn't exist. So he calls Eric. He tells Eric in front of me, hey, I need to transfer $72,526, whatever the amount is, because I'm buying a car for my fiance. This is the bank account information. Do you need me to give it to you over the phone, or do you need me to email it to you? Pause. I can't hear what the person's saying, but that's what he would do. Right. Do you need me to give it to you over the phone, or can I email it to you? Okay. All right, give me a few minutes and I'll go ahead and email it to you. All right, let me know. I'll call you back to find out if you received it. Okay. So I'm hearing this because, again, I'm not paying attention to, did I hear anybody on the other phone? Did I hear anybody on the other end? So he proceeds to type up an email, type up something, telling him this is the information that we need. I didn't think anything of it. He called me at work the next day to tell me that the money was sent to Audi, that he called Audi and he confirmed with Audi that they received the money. What he told me is that the car is going to be delivered to the house. Y'all, it's not that I lived in a hood, because I didn't. But I did not live in an area of Clayton County where you would have a brand new Audi delivered to your house. So I remember saying to him, I don't want that car delivered to the house. Right. It's not yet, because I need to put that car in the garage. And my Nissan I only had a 1-car garage, so my Nissan was in the garage. So he said, okay, well, let me call them back and change the delivery date. Can you be home, or can you do a half day? So he's asking me, can you work a half day so that they can deliver the car and you will be home for it? I said, yes, that's fine. Because, again, it's COVID. I'm working from home anyway. Okay. All right.
Ooh, child, this is a lot. This is a lot. This is a lot. Okay, girl, go ahead.
I only had to go in the office 2 days a week. So I'm at home the next day. He told me the car would be delivered between the hours of 1 and 3.
Oh, Jesus.
Obviously, between 1 and 3, nothing happened. So 3 o'clock, he's at work. He sends me a voicemail. He calls me back. I said, it's 3 o'clock. No one ever came with the car. What's going on? And then I remember I was like, well, do I need to call Audi myself? Because I thought that you handled it. But if you didn't handle it, do I need to call them? And so whenever I would suggest I will handle it, he would get very, very defensive. Red flag number 472.
Right.
So he was like, no, I will call Audi. Don't do anything. I'll call Audi.
Oh my God, girl.
Okay.
This is
so I'm at home chilling, cooking dinner, normal night. He calls me back and says, yeah, the car was stuck on the truck.
Oh, Jesus.
Because apparently that's where they So when he told me this, I was in the kitchen laughing. Because by this point,
it was lies after lies after lies after lies, girl.
I will be honest, and I told you I'll be honest even when it makes me look bad. I was guilty of, on one hand, I believed him, and on the other hand, I was like, let me see what lie he come up with. Let me just see. But keep in mind, my brain was really like not rationalizing, not comprehending how deep the lie was. I just thought that no one told him the car was going to be delivered, and he made that up. I had no idea how deep the lie went. So he said, the car's in Spartanburg. It should be delivered this weekend.
Okay.
The weekend came, he had a whole other excuse. I don't remember what the exact excuse was as to why the car was never delivered. I do remember we got into an argument, and I was like, don't even worry about it. I'm going to get a new car my damn self. I don't even need your help. Which is probably one of the worst things you can tell a narcissist, because they love to be the hero,
Right.
It's all about them. But I was like, don't even worry about it. I'll get when I have the money to get a car myself, I'll do it. Right. I don't want to hear anything else about a new car. I don't want to hear shit else about a car. Because at this point, I was spending way too much time trying to figure out, are we getting a car? Are we getting a house? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
Always there was an excuse.
Right.
So when I told him I don't want to hear anything else about a car, and I am not going to a dealership to test drive another car, that ended that whole discussion right there. So this is where I'm going to interject what I believe was happening. I believe that my ex-husband is the type of person, he gets off, he gets off on you being excited about something that he knows you will never get. Jesus. So I believe that he enjoyed going to car dealerships. He enjoyed watching me test drive a car and get excited about it, knowing I was not going to get it.
Girl.
It is the level of cruelty. And again, I'm telling y'all stuff that I found out way later on. It is the level of cruelty that I still cannot comprehend. So the whole issue about the BMW and the Audi, I think he just enjoyed seeing me get excited and then pull it away. Jesus. Part 11 coming up. All right, part 11. So for this part, I'm just going to give you some backstory on the family. Pause all the stuff about the house, pause the stuff about the car. This is backstory on his family, my ex-husband. Okay. All right, follow me. My ex-husband's parents, mom and dad, are both deceased. Mom passed away from cancer. So he says. Dad passed away shortly after her. I'm not sure what he passed away from. So he has a number of siblings. He has two, with his parents, he has two siblings, two brothers. One is older, lives in Philly. One is younger by 2 years, lives in Nashville. Okay. He has two sisters. One, Shantae, is older, lives in Douglasville with her husband and 2 kids, a boy and a girl. Younger sister Kim is the baby, lives in Augusta with her husband, worked at, I think he told me, Procter & Gamble. That was the story. He had 2 half brothers that were through his dad. One brother lived in Baltimore. The other brother lived in Augusta. The brother that lived in Augusta, I have physically met in person, shook hands, hugged, all that. The brother that lived in Baltimore, I have FaceTimed with, talked to him. The brother that lived in Philly, the older brother that he looked up to, I have never talked to him on the phone. I would always talk to him through my ex-husband. Okay. So the conversation would be like, hey, babe, brother so-and-so said, hey, he didn't call him brother so-and-so. We'll call him John. John said, hey, John. I would be in the bathroom doing my hair, brushing my teeth. Hey, John. And he'd be like, did you hear? He said, how you doing? I was like, I'm good. How's he doing? Because that's just me. And so he would relay back and forth. Right. He talked to John every day from starting around July after the grandmother passed away. He would talk to John every morning. We both would be getting ready for work, and he would be on the phone with John. They Never on speakerphone? 30, 40 minutes. Talking about football, talking about other siblings. They would be talking about cars. It was really like not a big deal. They would talk about the brother in Baltimore. They would talk about the brother in Augusta. And then they would reminisce. This is the conversations I could hear. Let me explain. When I say,
so there was never on speakerphone. Hey, babe, say hi to John.
I can hear a conversation. What that means is I am physically standing near him or next to him where I could hear him with the phone up to his ear talking to someone, because it wasn't me. Okay. I may not hear the other person because the phone call may not be on speakerphone. But what I hear is, for example, I hear, hey man, what y'all doing? Oh, for real? Y'all barbecuing this weekend? What y'all making? Oh, that's what's up. Nah, I think me and her gonna stay in this weekend because, these numbers is looking crazy. Yeah, she over here. She's
girl, I'm hungry.
Okay, John said, hey. Hey, John. You heard her? Okay. All right, bro. I just want to check in on you. That's the type of conversation I'm explaining. Okay, so I hope that gives a little more clarity about the type of conversations I'm hearing. So,
girl, that's funny.
I don't know why this light keeps coming out. Okay, so that's how he would talk to his siblings. The grandmother passed away. He called me around April or May and told me that his grandmother passed away. His grandmother, on his dad's side, had died suddenly from COVID. She had symptoms. She went to bed and did not wake up. He was distraught. He was crying. He wasn't eating. He was just sitting there, listening to music, not watching TV, just sad, because he was like, my grandmother was always my support system. So from what I saw, it really bothered him. I did not think anything of it. I'm one of those people. If you tell me somebody in your family passed away, I'm gonna believe you, because I don't play about death.
Right.
And I guess I expect other people don't either. However, that is not the same for everyone else. But so family, he had his sister Shantae, who lived in Douglasville. Like I said, she was married with 2 kids. Apparently she was a nurse. So when I had my miscarriage, that was a sister that he was like, my sister will take you to the hospital. Like, that's what family does. Right. Okay. I had never met Shantae. I've been on the phone, I've been around him when he was on the phone with Shantae. Never heard her part of the conversation. But he would be talking to his sister. That's what he said. That's what it sounded like too. Now, what is interesting is that we lived maybe 35, 40 minutes away from Douglasville. So there were plenty of times that he had invited me to go with him to his sister's house. Okay, let me tell you how this would always work out. Total times he invited me was probably 3 times for different barbecues or whatnot. The first time he invited me, I was like, I ain't going, because again, COVID. Right. And she's a nurse. Hell no. The second time he was like, yeah, she invited us, but I don't think we should go because COVID. No. The third time I agreed to go. I was like, absolutely, I'll go meet your sister. Like, that'd be great. On our way to her house, to Douglasville, to go see the sister. Apparently he got a phone call. The phone was always like on vibrate, but he got a phone call and he told me that something came up, and so she had to cancel the barbecue to get together, whatever. And so I was just like, oh man, okay, well, hopefully we can go another time. Oh, wow. It didn't happen close enough for me to have red flags. But at this point, as y'all probably like, girl, you so blind. But again, I didn't think anything of it, because it's like, okay, it fell through. We'll see. We'll reschedule. And so we just went out to eat, and then he talked to another brother, the brother from Augusta that he would have on speakerphone. So it was like, I didn't think anything of it. I really didn't. Man, and the more I talk about it, the more I realize, like, girl, I'm not a dumb person, but it just never dawned on me the things that you have to now investigate. Everything it didn't dawn on me, but nevertheless, that is the backstory for
everything. I love that. I love what she said. It has dawned on her the things you have to investigate. You got to investigate everything. You can't trust nothing they say. You got to invest it all. Investigate it all. Judge them. Judge them. You have to. You can't believe nothing. You need proof. You need documentation and verification. You need to go to the job, meet the boss, you got to judge them. Judge them, babe.
His family, right? Grandmother passed away. 3 weeks later, he called me and told me his uncle had passed away from COVID. Jesus. The uncle had tested positive, had to go into the hospital, and he died. It was a bit of a red flag. But like I said, I don't.
Well, it was COVID, so people was going. So
play about death. So I was just like, wow. Because of these 2 deaths, he became a stickler about COVID. And when I mean a stickler, wear your mask, wear gloves, hand sanitize, wash your hands. Like, he was annoying about making sure neither one of us caught COVID. So now I'm gonna give you the backstory in regards to what I was told with the ex-wife. Okay, I know I look rough, but it's okay. It's okay. Anyway, so this is part 12. We just want to know the story. Did I marry? So this is the backstory on what I was told for the ex-wife. This is important. Pay attention. All right. This is 2020. So this is what I was told in 2020. Okay. I was told that he and his ex-wife used to be friends. Then they started dating and subsequently got married. They got married in California. He had bought a house with the money that he made from arena football. They apparently had gotten married on the downward of the arena football career. Okay. Had a nice house. He showed me a picture of the house, showed me pictures inside the house. Remember that? Showed me pictures inside the house. It was a really nice home in San Diego. And basically what happened was that he came home from work early one day and came home early from work one day and his wife was sleeping with another man. The man was he and the man get into it. Her son, who is about 17 years old in 2020, she had 2 kids, a daughter and a son. The son apparently was on his way home from school when my ex-husband found his previous wife in bed with another man. So the story goes that he and the guy fought. He kicked the guy out. He kicked his ex-wife out, but told her the kids could stay. The kids are not biologically his. Those are his stepkids. She was like, you must be kidding. Like, I'm not leaving my kids here. The kids are old enough to where they were like, we don't want to go because you fucked up. We don't want to leave. So apparently she leaves. The kids stay with him for a few weeks. And then she gets her own place. The kids move out, move in with their mom. He files for divorce in California. He files for divorce in California, and it was an ugly divorce. She was asking for spousal support, all kinds of stuff, and then it turned into, I'll help you with the kids, not child support, but just I will give you some money for the kids, because apparently he was very close to the kids. And he wanted to keep a relationship with the kids. Their biological fathers, apparently there were two fathers. Their biological fathers were not in the picture. So the divorce starts out contested and ugly, eventually becomes amicable. Eventually they become cordial with each other. So my ex-husband moved. This is all before he ever met me. So I'm telling you the story of what I was told in 2020. So eventually, about 2 years later, is when his job approached him about an opportunity to transfer to Georgia. And so he took it. New beginning, fresh start. He has family in Georgia. He took it. He told me the story pretty much the second or third conversation we had. So it was always from the beginning that she had cheated. He called her, and he had filed for divorce. And he was still close to the kids. They still had a great relationship. I've heard him on the phone with the kids, just encouraging them.
Girl, this is messy.
The kids stay with him for a few weeks, and then she gets her own place. The
kids stay with the stepdaddy. Okay. Girl, don't you think that's a little suspicious? The kids staying with the stepdaddy? Those are not his biological kids, but they're staying with him? I would have been like, really? For real?
Their mom. He files for divorce in California. She was asking for spousal support, all kinds of stuff, and then it turned into, I'll help you with the kids, not child support, but just I will give you some money for the kids, because apparently he was very close to the kids, and he wanted to keep a relationship with the kids. Their biological fathers, apparently there were two fathers. Their biological fathers were not in the picture.
Okay.
So the divorce starts out contested and ugly, eventually becomes amicable. Eventually they become cordial with each other. So my ex-husband moved. This is all before he ever met me. So I'm telling you the story of what I was told in 2020. So eventually, about 2 years later, is when his job approached him about an opportunity to transfer to Georgia. And so he took it. New beginning, fresh start. He has family in Georgia. He took it. He told me the story pretty much the second or third conversation we had. So it was always from the beginning that she had cheated. He called her, and he had filed for divorce. He was still close to the kids. He still had a great relationship. I've heard him on the phone with the kids, encouraging them, helping the 17-year-old with homework. The kids really apparently wanted to meet me, and I was fine with that. He would apparently send the money. They needed something, because he loved the kids as if they were his own. I'm telling you the story as I was told it in 2020.
Okay.
So let's see, around April or May of 2020, he informs me that his ex-wife has moved to Georgia.
What?
She's staying with her sister in Gwinnett County. So she has moved to Georgia. The two kids are now in Georgia. And so when he tells me all this, I'm like, so what's that supposed to mean? Now, I will say this. He never made it seem as if she wants him back. He never presented that. It was always, no, we're cool for the kids. We're cool for the kids.
Okay.
But he's never presented that she was trying to get him back. I feel like it's fair to her for me to say that. And again, stay with me. It all comes out. But that was the backstory in regards to the ex-wife. That they got married in California, they divorced in California, and then she eventually moved to Georgia, to Gwinnett County, after he had transferred to Georgia for his job. He did tell me that every now and then he'll get a text message from her. He told me that he told her when I was pregnant. He felt like she needed to hear that from him instead of hearing it from the kids. And we got into a bit of an argument about that. But
wow,
I mean, in the big scheme of things, that anyway. So we got into an argument about that. I felt like that's none of her business. But that's the overall backstory of her. So remember, because there will be a quiz, but just remember, he met her in California, married her in California, divorced her in California. She moved to Georgia, to Gwinnett County, after he moved to Georgia. Are we clear? Okay. Part 13.
Part 13, girl.
So I've kind of given you guys all the backstory. Let's just kind of recap real quick.
Right.
So I told you how we met. Met in March of 2020. Basically, Georgia got shut down. I keep saying shut down, got locked down. We decided to quarantine together. I know it was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah, crazy girl.
I really liked him.
Too much.
Thought he liked me. So I told you guys how we met. Things moved at a rapid pace.
Okay.
Met in March. Moved in together pretty much end of March, beginning of April. Found out I was pregnant in May. Lost the baby in June. Had to have surgery in July. Started looking for houses. Started looking at cars. All this stuff happened literally between March and the end of, and August is when I got my car.
Right.
So, got a car in August. He paid the down payment for that car, which I was shocked by. No, it was not a BMW or an Audi. It was a Nissan Altima, but I loved that car at the time. So he paid the down payment for that car. Told me he would help me with the car payment. The biggest mistake that I made And I'll explain why I say this. The biggest mistake I made was that I signed myself up for a car note, where I knew I needed his help to pay the car note. I knew better. My mom has always taught me, do not ever put yourself in a position where you are financially dependent.
Don't ever.
And all of that went out the window. And the reason why I say that was the biggest mistake is because when I pulled back the layers of this whole monstrosity of life that I lived for 2020 and 2021, it really does boil down to the fact that I truly ended up marrying him more out of fear than anything else. And I'll expound upon that later. But I got the car in August. And by this point, I was exhausted of looking at cars. I was mad that I didn't get a BMW X5 dark blue with cognac interior. And I was tired of looking at houses, getting my hopes up, looking at a house and picturing myself in the master bedroom, the kitchen, the island, you know, all that stuff. I'm a visual person, and I was tired of getting my hopes up.
Yeah.
So now we're going to segue into fall, going into the holidays.
Okay. Girl, this is a lot. I ain't gonna lie, this is a lot.
In October, we looked at another house. This house was in Marietta. Absolutely gorgeous.
Not another house, girl.
It was gorgeous. I want to say that the house was about $700,000. I really liked the house. I could see myself living there. I could see myself cooking there. And so subsequently, my ex-husband put in an all-cash offer on that house. I watched him put an all-cash offer in on the house. Our real estate agent, Scott, called us about 24 hours later. And he said, the sellers love your offer. The offer was an all-cash, full asking price offer. $700,000. Let that sink in for a moment. He said the sellers love the offer. They are asking that you show proof of funds so that they can accept the offer.
Proof of funds.
Said, I will show proof of funds when they accept the offer.
What?
So he said, great. We'll accept the offer when you show proof of funds. So basically, we got into a standoff. And if
girl. So the sellers are saying we will accept the offer if you show proof of funds. Yeah, because they don't want to take their house off the market and he ain't got no money. And he's telling them, no, I will show proof of funds when you accept the offer. No, I'm not about to take my house off the market. Hello, ladies. I need to do a shorts about this. Think about it. It's the same thing as you women getting with these men that says, I'm going to marry you. Let's live together. Let's shack up. Let's pay bills together. Let's buy a house together. Let's get a car together. Let's have a baby together. And then I'm going to marry you. Again, up here in New Jersey, 11 years ago, for the bank to approve you of a loan, you got to show everything, your heart, your kidneys, your big toes, your little toes. They look up you know what. You got to list every asset you have, every liability. And then they say you are approved for this amount. So down there, it's a little different. I think I like my way better because the bank, you got to show the bank. Girl, that's funny. That was funny, but okay, girl.
You're a real estate agent or you work in real estate, I would love to know your thoughts on this. I had asked people in my personal life, like, have you ever heard of this before? And I've had plenty of people who said, I side with the ex-husband. I would not show my bank statements until they accepted the offer. And then I had other people who were like, I wouldn't accept an all-cash offer unless I verified that the person can pay. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are. Okay. Right. So our real estate agent called us and was like, guys, you know, the seller.
Oh, that's right. It's a cash offer, right? If it's a cash offer, not necessarily the bank statement, but go get a letter from the bank stating, Mr. So. But then again, with these letters, child, he's a liar, so we can't believe nothing that he said.
To show proof of funds. I had the letter that he showed me from Chase. I sent that to Scott. But that was for a mortgage. The offer right. was for all cash. Right. So he needed to show proof of funds that he had the cash to pay $700,000. He didn't show it. He refused to budge on showing them proof of funds until they accepted the offer because he was afraid that they were going to create a bidding war. So what ended up happening was Scott called us and said, you know, I apologize because I didn't do my due diligence as a realtor. He said, before I ever started showing you guys a house, I should have collected your pre-approval letter and proof of funds. He said, so at this point, my broker has informed me.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I just want you, Lord. You must show proof of funds. You must show it because we are looking for our forever home. We've been in this home for 11 years. We knew when we got this house, this was a starter home. Though my husband now falls in love with the house, I don't love this house. Even little Michael don't want to move because of his neighbor. And last night he's ready to move. And we already spoke to our realtor. We told him what we're looking for. He's looking for us. He sends us the houses every morning on my email. And of course, he's saying, well, how y'all gonna pay, what y'all gonna do? And we already spoke to the mortgage rep. We're gonna put $100,000 down because a few years ago we spoke to the mortgage rep and we said we putting 50 down and he laughed us to scorn. This was during COVID. He said, you need at least $100,000. So we pull back and say, okay, we need to save up some more money. And we're going to put $100,000 down. Granted, we have a lot of equity in this house. And the realtor, Felix, who got me this house, says, Janice, how y'all going to pay the down payment? And Felix talks to me because my husband he's a real executive. He's going to be on the phone. I said, Felix, this is what we do. This is how much we got, blah, blah, blah. He's worked with us before, so he know I'm not lying. But we have to have, I had to say, Felix, we have this much money in this account, and that's what we're going to use for the down payment. So let me rewind, because the realtor said I should have collected your information. Let's rewind what she said. Come on. Okay.
Instead of looking at cars, I was mad that I didn't get a BMW X5 dark blue with cognac interior. And I was tired of looking at houses, getting my hopes up, looking at a house and picturing myself in the master bedroom, the kitchen, the island, all that stuff. I'm a visual person, and I was tired of getting my hopes up. So now we're going to segue into fall, going into the holidays. Mm-hmm. Here's what happened.
Okay, girl.
In October, we looked at another house. This house was in Marietta. Absolutely gorgeous. It was gorgeous. I want to say that the house was about $700,000. I really like the house. I could see myself living there. I could see myself cooking there. And so subsequently, my ex-husband put in an all-cash offer on that house. I watched him put an all-cash offer in on the house. Mm-hmm. Our real estate agent, Scott, called us about 24 hours later. And he said, the sellers love your offer. The offer was an all-cash, full asking price offer. $700,000.
Has Scott looking bad.
He said the sellers love the offer. They are asking that you show proof of funds so that they can accept the offer. My ex-husband said, I will show proof of funds when they accept the offer.
No, ma'am.
The seller said, great. We'll accept the offer when you show proof of funds. So basically, we got into a standoff. And if you're a real estate agent or you work in real estate, I would love to know your thoughts on this. I had asked people in my personal life, like, have you ever heard of this before? And I've had plenty of people who said, I sided with the ex-husband. I would not show my bank statements until they accepted the offer. And then I had other people who were like, I wouldn't accept an all-cash offer unless I verified that the person can pay. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are. Okay. So.
But don't. Again, it's an offer. So at least a letter from the bank stating Mr. Johnson well, he's a liar, so we can't trust what he says. And and another thing, I have a coworker who lost a house not far from me because he loves where I live. He's from the Caribbean too. He loved this area, and he put an offer on a house, and another family from New York put in a cash offer. They took his offer. He lost the house, and it was a perfect house for him and his wife and their 3 beautiful children. But they had the cash offer, and he had to get a mortgage. So, let's listen to hear what Scott said. What Scott said?
The agent called us and was like, guys, the sellers are giving you 2 days to show proof of funds. Mm-hmm. I had the letter that he showed me from Chase. I sent that to Scott, but that was for a mortgage. The offer was for all cash. So he needed to show proof of funds that he had the cash to pay $700,000. Mm-hmm. He didn't show it.
Oh, child.
He refused to budge on showing them proof of funds until they accepted the offer because he was afraid that they were going to create a bidding war. So what ended up happening was Scott called us and said, I apologize because I didn't do my due diligence as a realtor. He said, before I ever started showing you guys a house, I should have collected your pre-approval letter and proof of funds. He said, so at this point, my broker has informed me that I cannot show you guys another house until you show at least us, meaning the real estate firm.
The realtor, right.
Until you show us proof of funds.
Proof of funds, right.
And so I'm just like, well, I'm telling my ex-husband, just show them the fucking proof of funds. Like, what's the problem?
Right.
And so it was a lot of, I find that this is really unprofessional because it's not our fault that you didn't do your job correctly. It got a little ugly and it got uncomfortable because I'm like, I don't understand why you don't show them proof of funds when you clearly just signed a document stating that you're putting an offer in at full asking price. This was the same thing that the realtor was saying. He was like, but you just signed an offer. So what's the problem? Like, you want them to accept the offer and then you'll show everyone the proof of funds? And my ex-husband, without missing a beat, said yes. So Scott did his best to work with the seller and say, look, accept the offer. He'll show you, he'll open the books. He'll show you the proof of funds. These sellers were like, no, that's not. And it wasn't so much the sellers. It was the seller's agent.
Right.
Big respect to the seller's agent. But the seller's agent was like, no, that's not how we're doing business. He needs to show those proof of funds before I advise my clients to accept his offer.
Right.
If he's not willing to do it, we'll go on to the next offer because they did have another offer on the table.
Right.
It was less than asking price, but they were willing to accept that offer over the all cash offer because those people had basically shown proof.
Right.
So subsequently, the house fell through. We passed the 2-day deadline. They went with the other offer. Also, at this point, our real estate agent, Scott, and I do not blame him for this, pretty much cut all ties because what he, I believe, felt like was, I don't know what's going on, but something's going on. And this is not how I do business. So until you guys are ready to show the proof of funds needed to buy a house, you need to get yourself another agent because we were already about 20 to 25 houses deep by this point. We had already put in 2 other offers. They fell through. And now here we are with this house. And once again, it fell through. Okay, so good news and bad news. Number 1, this is part 14 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry?
Oh, Jesus.
This is going to be the last post for the night. And the reason why, good news, tomorrow's my birthday. So
I'm
just going to make this video, post it, and then
happy
I will
birthday,
pick
girl.
back up probably Friday because honestly, I truly want to enjoy my birthday tomorrow. I just want to enjoy my birthday. All right, so y'all don't be upset. Just, if anything, watch parts 1 through 14, then we'll be ready for part 15.
Right.
So the house fell through in October 2020. And what I told him was, I said, I don't want to look at another house. I don't want to talk about cars. I want to get through the holidays because it was going to be a holiday season where I could not celebrate my family because of COVID. So I said, I just want to get through the holidays. I want to get through the end of the year. And we'll revisit stuff in January.
Right.
I was very calm when I said it. No argument, nothing like that. And he said he understood. A lot of what fueled me staying in this situation really was the fact that number 1, I didn't want to be alone.
Right.
Number 2, I didn't want to look stupid by having the relationship end so quickly for everyone to be like, we told you something was up. And number 3, I was ready to get married. And that.
So people, stop right there. People told you something was up. 1, she didn't want to be alone. There's nothing wrong with being alone. I'm writing a book on that, ladies. Sometimes you just need to be alone. And number 2, there were people who told you stuff was off with him. Proverbs 24:10, or let me see, talks about in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Okay. So when you're making these decisions on men, how many of you know you need other people around? You need other people to give your input because other people can see what you can't see. Okay. Is it Proverbs 24:10? And no, 11 or 10:11 in the multitude of one of my favorite scriptures. Can't believe I don't remember where it is. It talks about, okay, let's see here. Okay, here go. 10 and 19. Proverbs 10 and 19. In the multitude of, no, that's not it, Lord child. Look it up, girl. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So this is why in the multitude of counselors there, as soon as I put it in, it pops up. Proverbs 11 and 14. 11 and 14. Proverbs 11 and 14. Where there is no counsel, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So other people were telling you something is wrong. This is why you need those people in your life to say, girl, something ain't right with this foolishness. But okay, girl, Tisa, go ahead, girl.
What ready to get married fueled a lot of stuff. And again, I was still making my audio diaries. So listening back to it, I knew something was wrong. I admit that. I knew something was wrong. But what I thought it was, truthfully, was like, why does it seem like there's always something? Like, why can't we just go ahead and get the house? Why is it always something? Why can't I just get the BMW? It still didn't dawn on me how deep this something went. And for the people who keep asking, I'm going in order of events. So yes, there will be a video where I explain how everything came out and what came out, what was true, what was not true. It's coming. I'm just getting all of this out in order. So I told him I didn't want to look at a house no more. I want to talk about houses. Do not mention the word Zillow. Do not mention the word realtor. Nothing. Let me just get through the holidays. And for myself, the question was, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay with him, or do you want to cut your losses? And the part that kept me constantly second guessing myself was, what if he's not lying? What if he's not lying? There's no
he's lying about everything.
There's no way he is lying about having money. You saw the paper from Chase. They don't just approve $750,000 for a mortgage for anybody. I've seen his checking account. You see how much money's in his available checking. Like you I don't think he's lying.
Did you go to
I don't
the
think he's
bank
lying
with
about that.
him?
But what is it? Is it that he doesn't trust me? Like, I second guess myself so much. Is it that he doesn't trust me? Is it that maybe...
Ladies, people can fake stuff. People fake stuff. Go to the bank with him like I did with my husband. When he said, I love you, I said, thank you. Take me to Wall Street so I could get the income, the W-2. We're going to do the credit. We're going down to the bank. I went over there with him, went to HR, and he said to HR, please print out my W-2, give it to Jen. So I was like, They printed out, put it in my hand so I could see your income for real, your retirement, because, it's through the job, his 401k. We went down to the bank. He had the man pull up the computer, turn it around so Mr. Hilton can see it. Okay, blah, 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 for the savings. We did our credit report together on the computer so I could see you put your information and pull it in. You have 23 types of guys you might meet, honey. Read it. 23 types of guys you might meet, boo-boo. You got to read it. You got to read it, and you'll have to stick the husband profile course, girl. Oh, child. What if he not lying? He don't lie about everything. Nothing has come through.
He doesn't really want to get married. Like, what is it? Because I know what I saw. I know what I heard. I know that he's having conversations about move the money from this account to that account. I know he's paying my car note and all these bills. Like, clearly this man is making money. I know that I saw the promotional, the letter from HR that states his new salary is 200 and something thousand. And I remember thinking, like, God, what am I missing? I'm missing something, but what is it? Because I know what I've seen. I know what I have touched. I have physically touched these papers. Like, I know how to read. So what is it that I am missing? He's close to his family. He talks to them all the time. He's just a regular guy that just likes to watch NFL football. He leaves me alone when I want to watch Georgia football. He's paying the bills, groceries. I haven't had to worry financially since I've met him. And as a woman who had lived on her own, paying her own bills, my God, that is the most intoxicating feeling when you meet a guy who just takes your stress and your worry away financially.
Yes.
But the downside is he took away the stress and the worry financially away and instead brought a mental fuck job I've never in my life had experienced. And I could not put my finger on it. I couldn't really talk to anybody about it because I'm a big believer in what happens at home stays at home. So I didn't talk to
Okay. You could talk to anybody about it. You should have talked to your pastor, and you could have talked to the Holy Spirit about it. You said you're a woman of faith. You was raised in church. You could have went and prayed about it. You could have prayed and said, Lord, show me. Holy Spirit, what am I missing? Show me this man. Who is he? Who sent him? What does he want? So it's not true. You couldn't talk to anybody. You could have talked to God, your Father, about it. You could have. Child, and after this, I need to get me some food. I'm hungry. I've been doing this for 2 hours.
my girlfriends about it. I didn't talk to my family about it. But I just remember being like, what am I missing? What am I missing? Mm-hmm. So we did not talk about houses. We did not look at cars. We didn't do any of that for November, December. And he came to me like around Thanksgiving, and what I thought was a very open, loving conversation.
Okay.
And in that conversation, he was like, okay, I know I have fucked up. Mm-hmm. I know that things are not feeling too strong right now. He was like, I want us to get married. I want a home. I will show you whatever you need to see to put you at ease. He was very like contrite. He was very just like, what do I need to do to put your mind at ease so that you know I'm in this? and that I want this, and that I love you, and I want you to be my wife.
Mm.
So I was like, show me your accounts.
Ooh.
He showed me his checking. He showed me one of his savings. He showed me a Chase savings. He did not show me the offshore, and he did not show me the U.S. bank. So
okay, so did he log in the computer? Did he log in the computer in front of you and it popped up, or was it a letter? Was it a bank statement? Or did he was what was it? Did it just pop up, or was it a letter? I want to know.
He showed me those two accounts, checking and Chase savings.
Okay.
So I knew that there was money. What I saw in those accounts.
I hope she'll tell us, was it the bank statement or was it on the computer where you just put it in and you could just see
there was money. So I told him, I was like, if we're going to buy a house, I want it to be through the mortgage on Chase. I don't want to deal with this proof of funds shit anymore. I said, I do not want to look at another house until the beginning of the new year. He said, okay. That is when we then had a conversation. So I guess I lied, because we are going to have a part 15 or 16 tonight. But that is when we then had the discussion about marriage. Mm-hmm. And that is where religion came into play. Yeah, I'll give y'all the other part tonight. Stand by. Okay, part 15.
Okay, so I need to go get me something to eat too, girl, because I'm hungry. Okay, so religion now is coming up. You didn't talk about this before. REESA, you done moved in with the man. You're sleeping with him unprotected, and y'all didn't even talk about religion? I'm kind of confused. But girl, I gotta go get me something to eat. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me go get me some. So I'm gonna get me some real Jamaican goat soup. Okay, y'all sipping on tea. I'm gonna be sipping on some soup because I've been up since about 4:30 this morning. Okay, so technically it's lunchtime for me now, and it's 8 o'clock now. It's lunchtime. Hang on, y'all. Okay, y'all. I done had a hot bowl of soup. I could eat it on longer. It was hot, and I didn't want to be slurping and hot and coughing and carrying on while Tessa, what's her name? REESA. I have to remember my auntie name. REESA is talking, girl. So I had to take me a little break. Okay, let's get this to maybe 2 hours, 1.5 hours, and then we're gonna take a break, upload this video, and come on back. Okay, here we go. Okay, girl, go ahead. What'd you say happened now?
Stand by. Okay, part 15.
Part 15.
I'm married. So in December of 2020, around beginning of December, we had a conversation, kind of a come to Jesus heart-to-heart conversation.
Why does this sound long?
And both of us had grown up in the church, and the fact that we were not married but living together, the fact that almost had a baby together, bothered both of us. Both of our families, my family and his family, were very adamant, like, okay, y'all either need to get married or y'all need to separate. And so I'm walking around with a ring on, which I'll post a picture of the ring because God, there's so much to unpack. But anyway, walking around with a ring, and so he said to me, whatever I need to do my part to make this work, I'm willing to do. At the same time, it wasn't that I did not trust him as much as it was I felt like I wasn't trusting myself. Because again, like I said in the previous video, I know what I saw, I know what I've read, I know what I've heard, but fuck, something was not sitting right with me.
Right.
And every time I would question it in my head, the other side of me was like, okay, you know he ain't lying about the money because you saw it. So you know he ain't lying. Girl, are you that, like, I remember saying to myself, are you that jaded that you don't even know what it's like to have a decent man? Yes, I really had the audacity to have that thought. So we agreed at the beginning of December, like, we wanted to be together.
Let me stop right there. No, this is why the father's fracture is important in the husband profile course. Ladies, sign up for the husband profile course. Because we talk about the father's fracture. Because she's never experienced love before and protection and provision from a man, as in your father. Okay? So she was accepting it, thinking this was what it was. Child,
I believe I loved him. I believe he loved me. So the decision was made that we were going to get married.
This one is law.
So we had to follow certain protocol. So we filed our marriage license in Fayette County, Georgia. You could not get an appointment in Clayton County to save your life. So we filed the marriage license in Fayette County. On our marriage license, it asked the number of previous marriages. He said 1, I had 0. It asked for our social security numbers. He put his social security number down. I put my social security number down.
Okay.
I mentally wrote down his social security number. And I did a background check. I did a background check.
Ooh, Ooh, girl. You wrote down his social security number, baby. Yes, girl. And you did a background check. But you should have did a background check before you move him anyhow. We don't shack up and do all of this stuff. Does this sound really low to you guys? What's going on? I checked the volume. It's all the way up. My volume on my computer's all the way up. I don't know, girl. Let me hear her. We're going to end this when she's finished this, and then I'll just start over.
After I had filed a marriage license. No, but I did. The background check, nothing came back. It was like no results found. I did a criminal background check, nothing came back.
What? Nothing came up. Well, I don't know what comes up on background checks. Maybe where you went to school, where you lived. I don't know. I have to ask my husband because my husband's job, they have to do background checks and criminal checks every year. So I got to look at the last one he did. I know his always comes back clean. They write a letter, say we did your background check, criminal record, and nothing was found. It's clean. So I need to see what that looks like. Or cousins, come on, tell me in the comments. Tell me below.
So I thought one of two things. Either I had the wrong social, meaning I wrote down the wrong social, or my paranoia was unfounded. There's nothing wrong with him because he has been always throughout the relationship a big stickler about law enforcement, following the law because his dad.
Well, child, let me put this cup of tea over here because I'm trying to hear what she's saying because her phone is low. Okay, girl, go ahead.
Was a retired police officer. So this is someone who has been. This is a guy who would check to make sure my tail lights were working, make sure my signals were working, make sure my oil was good, make sure I had enough gas in the car. So when the criminal history came back with no results, I was like, well, of course there isn't because the man probably hasn't had so much as a speeding ticket. So we filed the marriage license, and then we made an appointment to get married and waiting for the judge to come out of chambers so that she could marry us. And the reason why I'm pausing is because, my God, if I could go back and see that young woman sitting in that lobby. Wow. I know we can't go back in time.
Can't go back.
But damn, if I could go back in time.
Girl, we can't go back.
I didn't tell anyone I was getting married because I was afraid that we had tried before in September and something came up. So I didn't want to tell anyone. I didn't want to get anyone's hopes up. I didn't want to get my hopes up.
Okay.
I know that's bad, but again, so I'll be honest, even if it's ugly. I told my mom, my family that we got married, told my friends, they could not believe it. Like my mother was relieved, but she had no idea about what was going on. My aunt was more like, really? You married him? My friend, the one who took me to the hospital for the miscarriage, was like, I wish you would have told me, like, you deserve to have people there, take pictures and celebrate and all this other stuff.
Yeah. Witnesses.
And she was like, she's the type of friend, if you like it, I love it. You rock with him, I rock with him.
Okay, wait. So y'all didn't have to bring no witnesses to get married? What y'all, I thought Georgia? Crooked. So y'all could get married with no witnesses. Not up here in New Jersey. You got to bring 2 witnesses. One for the man, one for the woman. Each person has to come with a witness. That's why the Bible says in the mouth of 2 or 3, let every word, 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. Listen, born again Christians, this is why you can't go to everybody's weddings. You should not go to everybody's weddings. Because God is going to call you. Did you stand and give witness to this couple getting married? And some of these weddings y'all are going to, you're putting your souls in jeopardy because you are going against the word of God by going to witnessing to some of these weddings. If it's not one man, one born male, and one born woman, don't invite me. And if he's a Dusty, Pookie, Ray, Tyrone, don't invite me. If he or she be married 55 times, do not invite me. I will not stand witness to foolishness, and God will not call me in judgment to give an account of why I stood witness to this couple getting married. Okay. I'm just saying, girl. I'm just saying. Go ahead, REESA.
But you don't, I don't either. So she was supportive. My other girlfriends were happy for me. They just hated that I had to get married during COVID, because they were like, oh, we would have loved to have thrown you a bridal shower and
Right.
bachelorette party and all of that. It just sucks that you couldn't experience that. So we got married on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
On the way home, stopped and got some wings. Went home, and I had to get ready to go to work the next day. And life.
That's terrible. Girl, you ain't had nobody to witness the wedding. Then you stop and got wings. You couldn't even go. Well, it was COVID. That's what I'm saying. You need witnesses. You need friends. You're going to come home, have a little dinner, some. You stop and got wings and had to go to work the next day. Girl, struggle love, child.
I got married January 5th. By January 31st, I knew I was in trouble.
Ooh, child. She got married January 25th. And January 31st, she knew she was in trouble. Shout out again to Messy Stories. I'm watching his or her full video because the full video is on here. Girl, tell me what now? Girl, that ain't but how many days? 24 days? Girl, 3 weeks you knew you was in trouble. Go ahead, girl, tell it.
So, to give you all a very, very, very candid idea, got married January 5th. The normal things that married newlyweds do, when we got married, completely stopped. And that was not by me. You always hear men talk about, man, now that we're married, she don't. In my case, it was the exact opposite.
What?
It was the exact opposite. So, anyway, because this is not a forum to be all R-rated or whatnot, but y'all get what I'm saying. So, we got married January 5th. January 6th, I went to work. It was a lot of people congratulated me because it kind of word got out that I got married. January 7th, I filed the paperwork to change my last name. And if you were following me, you can go back like 15, 16 videos, and I talk about how I had to change my name back to my maiden name. But I changed my name within about 3 days of getting
Jesus.
married. My attitude was, this is the bed that I made. I'm going to do right by him. I'm going to do right by my marriage.
The devil is a lie.
I took marriage seriously. And when I married him, I absolutely married him thinking I'm going to be with you for
I'm sorry, REESA. You didn't take marriage seriously. You's a lie. REESA, I love you, girl. My cousin and all. But you didn't take marriage seriously. Because if you took marriage seriously, you would have followed the steps. You would have went to marriage counseling. You would have gotten your pastor involved, your mama, your daddy, your auntie, the cockroaches. You would have gotten everybody involved because marriage is serious. So you want to make sure you're marrying this right man. And you didn't even pray about him. And if you did, the Lord or daddy would have told you about this demon. Okay? So, no, you don't.
So we gonna have to figure this shit out. That was my mindset. I did not get married to turn around and be divorced in 6 months. But I got married January 5th,
yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You did get married to turn around and get divorced in 6 months because you didn't do the foundation work, REESA. You did not do the foundation. So when you don't build that foundation correctly, guess what? It's gonna fall. That's it's gonna fall, okay?
And by January 31st, I knew I was in serious trouble.
Jesus, serious trouble.
So that is where we are. The next set of videos, the next set of all this will be me talking about how things went downhill before it crashed and I found everything out. In the meantime, tomorrow is my birthday.
Happy birthday.
So, happy birthday to me.
Okay, y'all. So we're going to stop it right there. Tomorrow's her birthday. So we're going to give her some time and I'm going to take some time so I can do some stuff. All right. Tell me what you think about this along with my commentary. Remember, I do stuff differently than any other people on YouTube. Show me love and support. I'm watching these videos for you and I'm reviewing them. My books are available on Amazon. Husband Profile course starts April 6th. Please sign up. Days for Date is coming very soon. My Cash App is also below. I absolutely love you. Check out Janice Hylton Mentoring. The site is finally up. It's about 99% up. There's one thing that's giving us problems and my VA is working on it. But you could check out the course and sign up for your one-on-ones with me. Mwah, love you. Talk to you later. Bye.